In the last video we looked at the Retevis RT9000D, a 4-metre radio that performed really well and has allowed me to venture into 4 metres properly for the first time. I made contact with Tony over 20 miles away to the northwest and was heard on the Hat Green SDR 30 miles away to the southwest. In this video I wanted to show you some highlights from the net I joined after speaking to Tony. The guys on the net were seasoned amateurs with a passion for VHF and UHF, and they were really friendly and made me feel welcome, which was brilliant. But just before we jump on the net, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about 4 metres, or the friendly band as it's affectionately known. The 4 metre band is unusual in that very few countries outside of Europe have allocated amateur access. This is the reason why very little dedicated commercial amateur equipment is available, and most amateurs active on the band are interested in either using homebrew equipment or modified PMR equipment. Before World War II, British radio amateurs had been allocated a band at 56 MHz. After the war ended, they were moved to the 5 metre band, 58.5 to 60 MHz instead. This only lasted until 1949, as by then the 5 metre band had been chosen for BBC television broadcasts. In 1956, after several years of intense lobbying by the RSGB, the 4 metre band was allocated to British radio amateurs as a replacement for the old 5 metre band. For several years the 4 metre band allocation was only 200 kHz wide, from 70.2 to 70.4. It was later extended to 70.025 to 70.7, and the band limits were finally altered again to today's allocation of 70.0 to 70.5. So that's a little bit of history about 4 metres. Let's go and jump onto the net.
And work something out. Anyway, I say it's great to hear you, Lewis. I always look forward to your videos coming out, especially some of the ones that you've done on some of the old PMI systems, air call and PMR systems rather, air call and things like that. The South Lancs radio telephone service, which I remember well. I was at school in the early 70s, and that was at the height of all that sort of thing. Very interesting indeed. Anyway, great to hear you, and pass it round to you. M3HHY mobile, 7 MVF.
7 MVF, M3HHY mobile. Okay, Paul. Yeah, cheers for that. I appreciate it. It's it's a learning curve for me as well. Sort of learning about these systems, which went on unfortunately way before my time. I'm a late 80s child, so I missed out on some of those ones. But yeah, it's good fun to sort of catch up. Dave, the location here is Werneth Low, so I'm on a hill just outside Hyde. The hill is actually called Idle Hill, and I'm about half a mile down from the transmitter site up there. It's an old ex-Pi site, so that's where I am. Dave, you're a really strong signal, 5 and 9, as is John, as is Paul as well. The radio I'm using here is the Retevis RT9000D, so it's just out the box this morning, and just running 10 watts with that, and running through a mag mount on the roof of the car from Moonraker. I forget the model of it now, but it's a Moonraker one. So yeah, really impressed to see how much activity there is on the band this morning, which is brilliant. That's sort of 4 stations in the log already, which is really good. Struggle on 270 sometimes to get anything in the log, so yeah, it's all good fun. Okay, I think it was round to John, G4NTY in Worsley from M3HHY mobile.
G4NTY, yes, okay. We saw all copies. Yeah, you're a very good singer, which you would be on Worsley. yes. So no problem copying that. Any of you. The day is half a mile from me in a straight line, so I can just about hear over the noise. HI. Right, round to you, Dave. G4GLG, G4NTY in the group.
And G6GVI.
Morning, Ross, G4JLG. We've got M3HHY mobile on Werneth Floor with us as well this morning. That's Lewis. So, good to hear you. Well, my system is not that different from John, actually. So I've got a permanent mast in the back garden, although it's not in use at the moment. That carries a 2 metre beam, 77's for the UKAC competitions. So there we are. Other than that, yeah, I know Wernaflow. There used to be, in the olden days, as it were, people used to use that site quite often for VHF contests, and of course the ones that John and I do regularly are the Tuesday nights UKAC competitions on all the various VHF bands. And so the one this coming Tuesday is SHF. So there we are. So going to you then, Ross, and then it's over to Paul, I think. G6GVI, G4JLG in the group.
Yeah, good morning all, or afternoon, just heard G8DOH calling on 23 there. Can't remember where he is, somewhere way down south. Anyway, I just heard a little bit. I'm struggling with John's signal at the moment, I'm afraid, because we've got the neighbours are using some power tools in the garden, and it's wiping him out, but the others I'm hearing okay. And Lewis, by far the strongest, very good morning to you. Paul mentioned to us yesterday that you might be on, so welcome to the 4 metre band, and glad you're enjoying it. I always found it quite an interesting band. Been operating since 1992, I think, mainly on FM on 4, and had something like 10,000 contacts in that time, so it's certainly a popular frequency. And your location on Wernaflow, well, it's familiar to us from the SHF portable events that Dave was just mentioning, because Mark, M0UFC, one of our members who lives in Manchester, used to go up there quite often with his 23 and 13 and 9 SEMS, and also 6 SEMS, I think, as well, kit. So we have had contacts with that part of the world on much higher frequencies as well. I think, is it your turn next, Paul, or Lewis? Apologies if I've not got the order yet. From G6GVI.
G6GVI in the group, M7MBF. Yeah, good morning, Ross. Yes, it was me on 6. I thought you were calling, actually. So I just gave you a call back on the 818 to say you weren't very strong. I don't know whether it was local noise. I tried the vertical and couldn't hear you at all on that. So anyway, back to you, Lewis. M3HHY mobile, M7MBF.
Yeah, M7 MVF, M3HHY mobile. No worries, Paul. That's good. Yeah, I recognise the calls of everyone on the net this morning from listening over the years. I don't know if I spoke to John or Dave before. I've definitely spoke to Ross before. But yeah, I'm mainly VHF and UHF. Been thinking of toying with 4 meters for a few years, and I bought one of the Wuxun handhelds a few years ago, and it has the helical antenna, which is no good really, and I ended up I think I gave it to a friend, so not done anything with 4 meters since, and then decided to get hold of one of these radios and give it a try, and yeah, I'm really impressed. It's very, very interesting. Usually my usual hangout is 2 meters and sometimes 70 as well. I do have 6 and 10, but I don't really use them. Got the antenna up at home, but don't really flick round though. But 6 meters is definitely one that I think I need to have a look at some point as well. Now 4 meters is under the belt. And yeah, very good afternoon, Ross. Hope you're okay. I've not spoken to you for a long time, possibly.
So I'm sure you'll agree, a really good net with the guys on 4 meters. I must point out that at the time of this net, there were 2 other frequencies in the band active, which I thought was really good, as 2 meters at the time was inactive in the area. If you want to pick up the RT9000D, then check the link below. I'll also post the link to the Moonraker antenna I was using on the roof of the car.